Hello, I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid, and welcome to City Connections. Well, March, we've made it to March, and it is Severe Weather Preparedness Month. And we have a special guest to talk about severe weather and how you and I can be prepared. And we'll do that right after this.
Enid, Oklahoma, from wheat fields to the economic hub of northwest Oklahoma. The social, medical, and educational center for the region. Enid is a safe and economic place to live, work, and raise a family. A city with an entrepreneurial spirit. Enid is a community overflowing with boundless opportunities, building an original heritage and pulsating with a vibrant quality of life. Now join Steve Kime as he brings another exciting edition of City Connections.
Thank you for joining us today on City Connections. As I said in the opening, we've made it to March. In March in Oklahoma, it's kind of severe weather time, and at least to be thinking about severe weather. I want to read this quote that I found a few days ago. When living in a severe weather-prone country in the world, your best defense is to be both prepared and informed. Well, that's what we're trying to do with this edition of City Connections. My special guest, Mike Honigsberg. Mike, thanks for being with us.
It's great to be here.
I know you're a busy guy. Thanks for spending a few days, but on a 62-degree spring day, this is not bad, is it?
Well, I'll take this anytime we can get it. I'm just about sick of winter.
This is Chamber of Commerce weather, but we know in Oklahoma, tomorrow could be a different story.
This is true.
And with March being, I think across the country, I think they have March or Severe Weather Preparedness Week.
Right.
But sometimes March, the entire month, is severe weather preparedness. So what's the big deal about being prepared?
Well, a lot of people don't know what to do, and it's really kind of crazy that people who've lived here all their lives sometimes don't really realize what to do when we're actually under the gun. And we get boatloads of phone calls. 911 does, we do, the police department does, on what do we do, where do we go, this kind of thing. And so we're just trying to get the information out there, everybody, to help understand what you should do, where you should go, if you go anywhere at all. And based on several incidences here in the last several years, or events as I should say, a lot of people were told wrong in some cases, and unfortunately it cost them their lives. So we just want to make sure that people know what to do here so that that doesn't happen.
It's real easy to take things for granted that everybody knows what severe weather preparedness is all about, but that's not the case. And so we're very fortunate that we have Mike on staff to really watch the skies for us and give us updates, because not all access or areas in Oklahoma have that. We're standing just below one of the sirens. I want to speak just a few moments about that. Sure. Who flips the switch, and what really determines when that siren must go?
Well, we have a set of protocols that we came up with when I was hired by the city. There wasn't really anything written. We had 14 sirens at the time. We've got 43 now. And there was no written protocol, and so I came up with one with the help of Galen Kitch, who is the City of Moore's emergency manager. Galen and me are great friends, and I've learned a lot from him since they've been hit so many times. And we just basically have that protocol of, you know, when storms are a certain distance away, if they're moving toward us, this kind of thing. Of course, we have a spotter network out there, and a lot of what they tell us helps make those determinations too.
Let me interrupt real quick.
Sure.
You said we were up to 43 sirens. Mm-hmm. What made that move? What made that change? Did the community just expand that quickly, or why did we get up to 43 sirens?
We had a tornado in North Enid that hit. It came pretty close to doing some really bad stuff here in town, and it almost did up there in the at the fairgrounds and in North Enid. We had 4 tornadoes in the county that night. And I think that was enough to get everybody's attention, and I took advantage of the opportunity to ask for additional money in my budget each year to build our system up, because it wasn't enough. Enid's really expanding, and we have to get the noisemakers, so to speak, out there to get people's attention when they're outdoors.
Well, if you live close to a siren, you know when they're testing it or when it works, because boy, it is loud. But I understand we also have, in part of our siren system, a speaker system. Yes. Can you kind of share with us what that's all about?
Yeah, Galen had told me that that's what they were doing down there in Moore, and so we started looking into a lot of those. And they were really expensive. So we found some that weren't as expensive that, you know, I could fit into the budget to put here. And where we've put these is all around the ballparks, all around town, out at Kellett, at Meadow Lake, up at Crossland, here at Government Springs. And plus we're putting some around schools so that if something is going on, say we have a storm front coming and everybody's out at the ballparks in the spring and the summer,
Sure.
then we can get on there and do a general announcement letting everybody know that we have a storm front coming with winds of excess of whatever, a lot of dust, a lot of, you know, wind and rain and that kind of thing. And we can let them know it's coming and giving them an approximate time when it's going to be here. And then whatever the decision is that the umpires make and allowing people to go and that kind of thing is what they do.
Well, we know March can be cold, snow, and a gorgeous day like today. Yes. But basically March is that Severe Weather Preparedness Month to raise the awareness. That's what we're doing on City Connections. Thank you for being with us today. We'll have more with Mike right after this. Welcome back to City Connections, and thank you for staying with us. Our subject today is preparedness for severe weather here in Oklahoma. Mike, we were talking a little bit earlier in the earlier segment about the sirens. We have up to 43 sirens, and that there's a speaker system as well that you can utilize. Let's talk a little bit more about who flips the switch, and when does this person determine we have got to let people know the storm is close by?
Well, I'm the one that flips the switch, so to speak.
Okay.
We can do that with radios down at the center. I can do it with a handheld, or I can do it from this truck.
So you can be out in the county somewhere and then
Exactly.
remotely.
Yes.
Because even though that storm is not on Van Buren, you could be in a different part of the county knowing this thing is going right for the heart of Enid. So
Correct. Say I'm coming back from Oklahoma City and there are storms in the area. They
Right.
weren't supposed to be severe, but then they went severe and things happened, then yes, I can do that. The police department also has the capability of doing that. We coordinate very close together when I'm not here on days like that, just in case.
Speaking of coordination, on a given night there's severe weather. Who's part of this coordination effort? Police department, you, but who else?
Our rural fire departments,
Okay.
the sheriff's office and all. Our spotter network are emergency services people, firefighters, police officers, sheriff's deputies, highway patrol helps us sometimes.
Okay.
And we utilize them because we can talk back and forth on the radio.
Mike, you hear a lot about spotters. I assume there's some type of qualification, there's some type of training. Tell us a little bit about the spotters and the assistance that they provide you.
Oh, they are gold because, you know, you got to keep in mind radar data is never real time. And the data that we get, NextRad updates every 5 minutes. So there's a long time span in there where we're not really sure what's going on. And our trained spotters in the field are our eyes out there. And it's extremely important that they're there because there's been times that the radar data was so, you know, scattered that you couldn't read it. And so the spotters were our eyes out there. And without them, even in the near future, it would be hard to do this without them.
Well, speaking of radars and bells and whistles, how about if we go to your office and see the command post and see all the bells and whistles that you have?
Okay.
Help us. Can we do that?
Sure.
All right. We'll be back. Thank you for staying with us on City Connections. We'll have more right after this. We left the springtime weather outside and we moved inside to, I call it the command center. Never seen so many monitors in here, Mike. I guess you would call it the command center, but just kind of give us an overview. We've got radar pictures from Arizona to Maine and everything in between. There's monitors over here. There's a red phone over here. What's this all about?
A lot of heat when there's a lot of people in here, that's for sure. No, we have a group of people that come in upon activation that sit and monitor all these, and we also have a meteorologist that comes in and works with us too. It's really a unique group of people because they're insurance people, assistants to other people, this kind of thing that come in, but each station is specific to what they do. I have several people who are versed in radar come in and look at different products, different than what I'm looking at on 2 different stations here because just like we were talking earlier, 3 sets of eyes are better than one. And there are times when I don't see certain things that other people may. And it's just part of how we communicate with each other to keep our people out here in town and in the county safe.
We talked a little bit earlier in the program about the development of more sirens and things of this nature. Tell us about the development of the command center. What has changed in, say, the last 5 years or so?
In 5 years, we've gone with a lot better computers. This room's been hit by lightning twice, and it wiped out a bunch of computers. Didn't wipe out anybody.
Now you tell me. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's only during storms. It's just one of those freak things that it didn't hit the tower out here. It hit the building or the phone lines or something and came through and did quite a bit of damage. But we've gotten rid of a lot of computers. We had, I think, 15 in here at one time, and that was way too many because we had about 10 to 15 people in here at a time. And we got rid of a lot of those and went to the multi-screen computers here, and it just alleviates a lot of heat, number one, but also too we can monitor a lot more data with these high-end computers, a lot easier than having all these other people in here. It's just more confusion when the more people we have. We've streamlined.
I can see where the command center is a huge function of your work and important to you and what you're trying to do about notifying the residents of severe weather and stuff. But let's talk a little bit about, say, educating the community. Now, do you go to schools? Do you go to elementary schools, high schools, service clubs? Do you go out and talk about
yes,
being prepared in severe weather?
Yes, I do talk to the civic clubs. Actually, that time is coming up, and I do a lot of in-service training at several of the assisted living facilities to their staff. I do National Weather Service spotter training. I'm an accredited instructor for that. And I go around to several of the counties around Garfield County besides our own group that I train in that kind of thing too. And
so if someone's watching our program today and they say, we need Mike to come out and talk to our group, how do they get a hold of you?
And all they do is just give me a call.
What's that number?
249-5969.
And that's a 580 area code?
Yes, 580.
Now, I know you're Garfield County kind of jurisdiction, but have you ever been called to go to, say, Noble County or other areas?
I've been called to go up into Kingfisher County, Grant County, Alfalfa, and Major County at different times for different events.
Because our City Connection programs go to a variety of audiences outside of Enid, outside of the county, and somebody's watching this and they go, well, we need to get him up to where we live or something like that. So that was
580-249-5969.
Okay. Mike, over in that corner is the red phone. Is that to the president, or is that, we know it's not to my office, but it looks pretty serious over there, so.
That phone goes directly to the Vance Command Post. When we activate for severe weather, we'll let them know we're activating out here, and we also let them know that we'll be coordinating with the Vance Weather Shop during the event. Okay. And then, of course, if there's a strike on base, if there's a strike here in town, that's our direct link to the wing commander and whoever else is down there in their EOC.
Okay. I have 2 more questions for our special guest today, and so we'll do that right after this. And today we've been talking about fire's role, the code department's role, and property to stretch it even further. We have what's a person to do?
There's a couple of them.
That I'm conscious. So, welcome back to our final segment here on City Connections. Mike, as we close our program today, I want to talk a little bit about, I hear about your certification, and I know that you're quite educated to be able to go out in different communities and talk about severe weather and preparedness, things of this nature. But talk to us a little bit about your background and really how you got into this particular role.
Well, I've been the county director for 18 years, a little bit over 18 years, and I've been the city director for a little over 8 years. It's been a real adventure. I've learned a lot, I really have. And being both the city and the county guy has been very interesting because of the different political, I'm not going to say agendas, but the different viewpoints, so to speak. As per my background, I graduated from Northwestern back in 1978. It took me a couple extra years because I got married and had to help put her through school. And then I went to the University of Oklahoma for the OK First program that I'm accredited through the university for with a lot of this. And of course, I'm a certified director of emergency management through the Oklahoma Emergency Management Association. And I think I stated this before, I'm also an accredited instructor through the National Weather Service to do their storm spotter training. So it's very time consuming, but very rewarding.
If someone has just joined us in our program and they didn't see us at the opening, they didn't hear us talk about the speaker system and our sirens and things of this nature. But as we close the program, what word of encouragement would you offer to our listeners in regard to just, it's March, Severe Weather Preparedness Month, week, year, whatever you have. What would you share with people about getting prepared for severe weather, even if they've lived in Oklahoma 50 years?
Well, I think the main thing is, number one, don't panic. That's the number one thing that people do when we're under the gun. We were kind of that way here in the very beginning when we were learning the process of how to deal with people and this kind of thing. And it's just a matter of paying attention to what's going on, staying informed, get your information, any source you can get it, and then take that information and apply it to yourself and your family. Because if you get scared, if you're really panicky at home, your kids, if you got kids, they're going to be panicky. And that's what you don't want to do. In fact, in some cases, especially if the kids have gone through some of our classes, they may know more about it than you do. So I think just overall, just stay informed and just keep up with what's going on.
I know in my home you take care of the wife and kids, but you don't forget about the pets either.
Well, this is true. This is true. And a lot of people will not leave home. They won't do anything without their pets. And we understand that. So, take care of them too. Take them down in the shelter with you and that kind of thing. And then we'll just go from there.
Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been very enlightening. Appreciate the work that you do. And I realize the work that you do is a lot behind the scenes and just making sure that we're safe and sound, because when we're sleeping away at 3:30 in the morning, it's good to know that there's some eyes out there watching for us. So thank you for the work that you do.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for joining us on City Connections. It's been my privilege to bring our March Severe Weather Preparedness program to you today. And we'll have another program featuring our departments here at the City of Enid in the near future. Until that time, I'm Steve Kime. Make it a great day. If you have a topic or a suggestion for a future City Connections program, please email me at asksteve@enid.org. The email address again is asksteve@enid.org.